So welcome along, it's Richard Beauvoisin here, and today on A Story to Tell I've got Dan and Ben from Fortitude, and they'll be coming up right after this.
We're going to dance. We're going to dance. We're going to dance and have some fun.
Dig.
So it's Richard Beauvoisin here until midday today, and on A Story to Tell I've got Dan and Ben from Fortitude. Welcome along, chaps.
Hello.
Morning.
Good morning, how are you both today?
Very well, thanks.
Yeah, first day of autumn, it seems, outside. It's very cold.
It's not particularly warm today, is it? Yeah, I had to do the condensation down the windows this morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be honest, when I say my wife did it.
Okay.
So she came in and she said, I'm having to do this job again. And I'm like, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
So
You should use we. It's a reasonable prefix.
it is. Come a bit closer to the microphone for me
yep.
there, Ben. So tell us a little bit about Fortitude, and it also has the exclamation mark at the end. Why is that then?
Okay, indeed. So probably the beginnings of the band. So we all used to, and some of us still do, work for Wessex Water. So it's an amateur band in the first place. Way back when, probably 2017. So I worked in IT, and the CIO at the time was is Phil, who was one of the key writers for the original Fortitude. And it's one of these four guys having a chat about music. I think I had a guitar case, a hard case, delivered to work.
Right.
Told off by facilities at that point. Different person, wasn't that? And so Phil piped up and said, "Oh, you play the guitar, do you?" And kind of those sorts of conversations to start, and then you kind of figure out, well, how good are you? Is this kind of, yes, I've been playing for 30 years, but I've only picked the guitar up twice sort of scenario, or actually a bit more than that. So I started doing classical guitar when I was about 9, got to grade 3, realised that I wasn't all that good at the theory side of things. Bought an electric guitar, made an awful lot of noise, and then basically paused my guitar career for maybe 20 years till I found somebody who could actually show me how it all fitted together.
Okay.
So a bit more of the theory, the modes and stuff. So coming back to the Phil situation, we were kind of away abroad, actually, kind of with work, and we just got talking about should we do something together as a band, sort of thing. And then, so I'll skip on a little bit. I appreciate we've got a bit of time.
No, that's okay. You're all good. You talk as long as you like.
Oh, okay. But people usually tell me to shut up after a while, so we'll see how we go.
Don't worry, I will.
Yeah, okay.
So will I.
yeah, he does. So this was we're talking about. It isn't enough just to play the guitar. We were talking about kind of different effect pedals and buying those mega boards that have 1,000 different sounds on them, thinking, really, actually, playing and learning kind of how the different sounds, the different amps, the different speakers start to come. There's a whole different world to musicianship. And actually, I really kind of appreciate the people doing busking stuff, because they don't kind of shut, it's all just a person and a guitar.
Yeah.
And this will be interesting for us from an acoustic set point of view, because I'm used to having exactly that, an electric guitar and an amp and all sorts of stuff. So we'll see what the sound's like.
So who's in the full band then?
So now, well, that's a story in itself. So
The current band.
So there are 4 of us. Myself, I'm Ben. I'm the lead singer and guitarist. I'll let Dan introduce himself, because he's sat quietly next to me at the moment.
I'm Dan, and I'm the drummer, and it's a bit of a Spinal Tap situation, because I think there were several drummers before me. But as Ben says, we worked together, and a few years ago, I've always played drums. I've been in bands. My background is slightly different to Ben's. I've been in music and bands since I was 15, 16, and had various flirtations with the music industry, and played everything from brass bands to thrash metal. And at the time, a few years ago, on a French horn. A few years ago, I was playing for several bands at once, and so most nights of the week, I was playing drums somewhere. So my drum kit was kept in my car. And I'd got known at our office for the person who drives into the car park with a drum kit in the back of the car.
As it should be with all drummers, by the way.
Of course, yeah.
And I was walking from the car park to the office, and Ben stopped me and said, "Are you Dan? Do you play drums? Do you want to be in a band?" And I thought, wow, another one.
yeah. You did look a bit surprised, if I remember correctly.
But this band seemed quite fun, and here I am.
Yeah, here I
Literally,
am. Good intro to one of the titles of one of the songs.
Oh, very nice.
We've been playing together for 5 years. We're at a level where I think all four of us have got different levels of experience in music, but different levels of experience in, for want of a better phrase, the industry as well. So we all pull together, maybe with my jadedness, pulling things back a little bit after doing it for 20 odd years, and Ben's enthusiasm. We come
always
together.
A melting pot,
we are a melting
keep each other
pot.
real.
Yeah, exactly.
So the other two, that's the kind of a stickier point. But so originally, there was a fellow called Steve Arthur who was the drummer before Dan, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying a very keen, amateur, enthusiastic drummer.
Okay.
His tempo was not necessarily metronomic, shall we suggest.
So you had artistic differences.
Well, I think it's interesting because I'm sure as there must be hundreds of bands in the local area and indeed worldwide. And actually, I'm reading Dave Grohl's story about how he's gone through exactly this sort of scene and keeping his drums in his car just like Dan did.
Yeah.
So there's still time down, you never know. But it's you kind of, as much as you are musicians, and one of the things from a guitarist, I always wanted to be Mark Knopfler. He was my spot. He made me pick up the guitar in the first place. I'd say long since realised that I probably can't be him, but my skill is not Mark's. But that doesn't mean I can't play or write or kind of collaborate with. Dan plays the guitar as well on a dangerous occasion. Writes a few songs, and here we are. So that kind of melting pot of are you good? So we've had a couple of there was a fellow called Phil Manning at one point, who is a phenomenal guitarist, but and actually Ben Spode, who's recording on the EP with us now. I'm sure we'll get to in a bit, but so he's an old friend of mine, phenomenal guitarist, but just doesn't really like being in front of a crowd. So there's so we've got that's Phil Pike was the chap I mentioned to start off with. Used to be my boss's boss, and he co-wrote quite a few of these songs. Then Jody, we haven't mentioned Jody yet.
Let's not forget the
phenomenal
section.
Bearded bass player.
Okay.
So
I had Jody as a woman in my head then for some reason.
Yeah. So we're doing covers of Summer of '69. Jimmy quit. Jody got married, and that was always there. So Jody again, Wessex. And I think you knew him more than me, Dan, in the first place. So he was the fourth member that joined us from a bass point of view.
Right.
And so originally it was kind of me, Dan, Phil, and Jody. We were the guys that recorded the album, so I think you're going to play a couple of tracks.
Yeah, we're going to play a couple of tracks later on from that.
Brilliant. And then I'll spin on to the recorded, the signed musician bit, which was, let's face it, there's four guys that are just doing the music for some fun, and we thought we can write some songs, and we went through that whole, additional learning curve of what it's like to be in a recording studio. It's very different being in a radio studio today. I must have been in a recording studio 40, 50 times now, and so that's kind of normal in inverted commas, but a radio studio is just sounds different.
It does,
used to how the industry works. We released the album Reverie. It's February on 2021, and we didn't think much of it. We played, actually, because it was COVID times, it took us probably 18 months before we actually played.
Well, there was a lot of, we did have to do a lot of, it took a long time to record because it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So there were obviously restrictions, as, we were in, I was living in one zone, Jody was living in another zone, the recording studio was in another zone, so we could only do things one or two people at a time. But we did have some success with it. It did get quite a lot of. It's on Spotify and it's been downloaded quite a lot. And we also have been played on the station, which was nice. So that was a help in the past. And as Ben said, we're now going on to an EP. The EP has been, we've done our recording side of it. It's now in production and coming to the later stages of production. And it should be coming out in the autumn on Rexius Records.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to correct him. It used to be coming out in the autumn, but it's going to be 16th of February is the release date at the moment. So it would just be a spring sort of thing. So the original album came out, as Dan was saying, and we've got a band email address.
Okay, go on.
info@fortitude.band. It's one of these cool new kind of .band extensions.
Okay.
And I don't know, 4 people email us occasionally, sort of stuff. So I don't check it very often. And it was back in November, must have been last year, this email came in from a lady called Elena from Rexius Records. and you kind of wonder whether somebody's asking some money for you or something. It looks suspicious, but actually, I saw 3 of them. By the time I actually got to look at it, it was pretty much Christmas Eve. I was just logging onto my computer at home and thinking, oh, there's some meat. And actually, this woman's trying to, it isn't just a single opportunity sort of thing.
She really does want Connor.
She really does want my money.
Yeah.
But she was very polite. And so Rexis is a Swedish-based record label. And they contacted us 3 times over, and by the time, like I say, I got to say hello back again. We agreed to have a conversation at the end of February, I think it was, by the time kind of the dates worked out, and then they sent us a contract for a 4 single EP.
Yeah.
This is kind of a mix. Where are you at the moment? What songs have you got? Sort of stuff, and that seemed reasonable at the time. And at the end of March, we signed it.
Yeah, and we, as we say, we've recorded and. Now world domination is our plan.
World domination is definitely always on the
You've got
cards.
to have a dream, don't you?
You do. So what type of, it's very difficult when people say, what genre are you? Is it rock, pop, folk, where, and there's so many different things that can be in between. But kind of, whereabouts would you pitch you guys then?
I think this is going to sound a slightly pompous answer. It won't sound a slightly pompous answer. It is a slightly pompous answer. I think it is down to... our generation would define our music, because without wanting to make us sound too old, we were born in the 70s. So we've taken a lot of...
mentally, I'm still 17.
Yeah. So our own tastes would be what was popular in the late 80s going through. So rock, indie, Britpop, grunge, all of those sorts of... What bands who were playing guitars in the 90s. But I think from our upbringing, and certainly from mine... I'm sure parents would have been of the 60s generation, so there's a lot of folk music in there, hence why I've got a harmonica with me at the moment, being raised on Paul Simon and Bob Dylan. There's a lot, and Ralph McTell. There's a lot of acoustic guitar and harmonica, but I think we come together in a it would be rock if you wanted a generic,
I'd say kind of soft rock if you could merge them all together.
But it's not sort of standard commercial. There is an element of that indie alternative sound to it as well.
It's really difficult. You've got an artist like Ed Sheeran, for instance. Where would you pigeonhole him? And I'd say it's almost impossible to pigeonhole where Ed Sheeran would be, because some of it's quite folky, some of it's quite rocky, some of it's quite gangsterish in some ways. You never quite know what you're going to get from him. And I've seen him in concert a few times, and it's never the same. And he's very, very different. So kind of, how do you guys perform? What's your kind of, ilk on how you perform? And
so that's
nervous energy, I reckon.
Well, so from a singing point of view, I did some work years and years ago at Cambridge Science Park.
Okay.
And my degree is I got a master's in electronics, and I was in this room full of PhDs and professors and stuff. I felt completely academically outclassed.
Yeah.
But I knew what I was talking about. I knew what my subject was. So actually, I kind of did my presentation, answered the questions, and I kind of walked out there with my head held high. And I thought, actually, that doesn't scare me anymore. What scares me? Singing.
It's singing.
Personal. It's kind of being on stage, and I played in a school band, and I sang when I was 16, scared the living daylights out of me.
Yeah.
But actually, I think you now we've done it quite a few times. The drug really kicks in. So the adrenaline as you're kind of popping, and certainly if they're your songs and people are starting to know your stuff and sing along. I can really see why Iron Maiden's still touring 44 years later or something like that, because they can't not. So I'd say we're still developing in terms of our stage presence. I've got a kind of radio mic and a radio kind of guitar pack, so I can wander into the audience and scare people face to face. And most of the gigs we play are that sort of size that you can see the whites of the people's eyes as they you approach
So what type
them.
of gigs are you guys doing at the moment then?
Well, we've been asked. Actually, we're not going to do it this time because of another gig we're doing. But we've done the Bath Half 3 times. We're playing again next year, so that we can say we've played to 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Whether they're running towards you or away from you is another.
Or listening.
We don't want to stop the runners, but it is. We are on the pub circuit. We're very keen to play Bath because, with no disrespect to other local towns and cities, because I've played the Bristol circuit to death, and I love Bristol. But a unique thing about the Bath circuit is that the venues are a lot more unique it's not just pubs and clubs like it is in other towns and cities. We're playing at Birdle's Yard in a few weeks' time.
Love there. It's a lovely place.
Yeah, that's a very unique type of venue. We play at,
for people that don't know Birdle's Yard, it's on the main A4, isn't it? And I looked at it, so I'm a dance teacher normally, I looked at it as a venue possibly for dancing, but for our style it was actually just too small. But it's an incredible venue, and the acoustics in there are fantastic as well. So yeah, do go and get to see you guys there.
Bath, Ashlestown, so we do the plug, so it's the 14th of October. Doors open about 7 o'clock. It's free. We're using it as a bit of an opportunity for photos and videos and stuff for the EPs itself, so if people come along and enjoy themselves, brilliant.
Amazing. So that's at Birdle's Yard on the 14th of October.
Saturday the 14th. So it's the day before the Bath Half.
Okay.
This time round. And yeah, as Dan said, we've done a couple of weddings. We did a field in the middle of Devon, which apparently could be heard for miles and miles away.
And the stage got blown over.
Yes. Yeah. So it's the... I think every venue, and I guess you get the same from a dance point of view, has its difference. And you said about what the entertainment is, and so that St James's Wine Vault's in town. We played there a few times. That's kind of a smaller Birdle's Yard that is very personal.
And the Bell has a unique atmosphere. Always saying the Bell we've played a few times.
Yeah. In December when it's damp as well. So it's kind of weird sort of.
We play the standard venues. I mean, any band of this type will be playing in the same sort of venue, pubs and clubs, places like that. But as I say, we're very pro Bath because although it is that type of venue, they are quite unique in their own right. You're not just going into just another pub or club where a band just like you played last night and you're one of millions. In Bath, it does tend to be a unique scene with room for unique bands. And although we do say we are jokingly fingers waving in the air, just a rock band, we do have a different angle on our music. We're not everything. It's not everything we do isn't just four blokes with guitars and drums. We've used violins on tracks. We've used percussion, keyboards, different things. So because we've got we like to think individual sides to our music. Then we think those sort of venues are the sort of venues we like to play as well.
That sounds amazing. And there's the Pump in Trowbridge as well. Have you dawned across those doors at all?
We haven't played there, but we know exactly where you mean, and that is on our target list.
Yeah, it's up and coming, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
So Kieran runs it there. So I'm going to get Kieran in to chat at some point. Brilliant. So I might try and put a word in for you. Well, we're going to have a little break for some music. When we come back, we're going to start listening to your first track.
Radio Bath, made in Bath.
You're such a sweet talker, man of my dreams. Tell me, where are you now?
So we're back with Dan and Ben from Fortitude. This is Rich Beauvoisin here until midday today with a story to tell. We're going to talk a little bit more about songwriting very quickly. So in the band, is it collaborative? Is there one person that does more? Do you take turns? How does it work with you guys then?
It is collaborative.
Definitely, yeah.
I think it's collaborative in the sense that we all bring something to the songs, but we don't necessarily sit down at a table with a notepad and go, you do this, I'll sing those words, blah, blah, blah. It tends to be that one of us will come up with a melody and a chord structure, which for me can be a little bit more difficult because my instrument is drums, not guitar or keyboards, but I'll come up with a couple. And then Ben will then put his part to it, and the four of us will get into the rehearsal studio. I've never written any lyrics. I once emotionally developed enough to write lyrics. But Ben, who's overly emotionally developed, will write the lyrics. So I think it is a collaborative process, but it's not consciously. We don't arrange. We will be here and we will write a song. If someone will sit at home, record a scratch demo on their phone or computer, definitely, and then pass it on, and then we'll be there on a Thursday night in a practice room, all putting our various parts to it.
Yeah, and I don't know about how you. It's interesting. So when I was at school, I did one of these summer music club things, and they had a professional band come in. And I asked them exactly, how do you start writing songs? And actually, he was a drummer as well. And gave me an elusive answer. But it's just, he said, it just kind of comes to you. There's, I guess, the emotional situation that you happen to be in your life. So a lot of the lyrics are kind of, ethereal and made out of. We called it the album Reverie because it's the, looking back on nostalgic views of, well, let's face it, 40 odd years between us. So, but there's something like, Dan will pick up a couple of chords. So on the EP that we're working on at the moment, he would strum the chord sequence and give us the idea and think, actually, and then something triggers in my head that there's a line or a lyric or a riff or something that sits on top of that. And as Dan said, we take it to the studio, and then the bass will kick in. So I can play bass because it's the same 4 strings as a guitar, but I can't play bass.
No,
just not all the bass players out there really get that statement there. So coming into it makes a difference.
Yeah, and I think also what we are conscious of is certainly when I try and come up with some music for a song to go with it, and then the rest of the band I think are also conscious of this. Without wanting to going too much into music theory or being too musically technical, we do like to use standard time signatures and standard keys because that is what the popular ear likes. But we will try and put into that. We will put in a 7th chord here or a minor chord there, so that it is familiar enough to for people to like, to have a commercial ear, but just something in there to make it sound a little bit different, to give you a hook. And I think that is something that songwriters, established songwriters do that, and I think that prospective songwriters need to bear that in mind. You need to take influences, because if you do anything too revolutionary, for want of a better phrase, it may not click with the commercial listener, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but if you want to, you need to be able to
people have got to enjoy it.
Yeah,
people
like
so
it.
There are certain things
you need to make it you need to make it accessible, but you need to put your stamp on it. I think bands, I'm in no way comparing us to these bands, because these bands are fantastic.
But you're going to use your words and say these bands at the same time. So I have a phrase, by the way, that, and I said this morning, is that if anybody uses the word "but" in the middle of a sentence, I discard everything that was said beforehand,
right.
Because it's what's after the "but"
that
is actually what you mean. So,
right.
So you're not saying that actually we are comparable to these bands.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. As songwriters that I would aspire to, then I think. One way of putting it would be somebody like XTC. Their lyrics and their music are phenomenal. They make catchy rock pop songs, or they did. I don't think they're still around now. And they're fairly local. They're from Wiltshire. They had a lot to do with the local area, but they were also musically very clever. And I think that is something I would like to aspire to. And I think that is, although it may not be specifically that band, I think that sort of technique of writing lyrically interesting and musically clever songs which are still catchy and accessible, and an exemplar of that is XTC and The Jam, are bands I think songwriters would do well to aspire to, if I'm not sounding too
so XTC and The Jam.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone else?
I'm going
Go on.
Dire Straits,
Guns
N' Roses, and so we're talking about the French horns to thrash overdriven guitar sort of stuff and everything in between. But it is, and I'm sure any other songwriter out there, that you write what you feel at the time. And then you get in the studio and it changes direction, and certainly the recording studio, and with Ben and Matt on the recording for the EP at the moment, and Paul is the new guitarist that will be performing with us on the 14th. So we all add in our collective experiences, and half the bands that Dan knows I've never heard of, and vice versa. But somehow it just goes.
I have heard of Dire Straits.
Yeah, you haven't. Yeah, jolly good.
For you.
Yeah. This is Mark.
Surname Knopfler.
Yes, quite.
Now, every song theoretically has already been written.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and there are, I think there's something like 3 million songs a year or a day, or there's some stupid statistic out there. So, do you kind of have that fear ever that you're writing a song and you think, I'm just rewriting what somebody else has already done?
No.
Simple answer.
Yeah.
Because that is right. There are so many songs. I mean, there is nothing new under the sun. If you take something like blues, is the standard blues track is a 12-bar phrase with 3 chords, 6 chords, whatever. It's the way it's played. that is what makes it. I mean, you can't listen to the same thing all the time.
Do you know, it's a really nice way of putting it in regards to the song may be the same, but the people playing it are different.
Yeah.
So therefore it's always new.
It's about covers as well. I mean, I was talking about Sinead O'Connor yesterday, and Nothing Compares to You. And obviously it's Prince that wrote it in the first place, but she made it. So is it the same song? No, not at all. And it is that sort of human emotional connection that I don't know half the lyrics to half of my favourite songs. I don't know what it is that it just kind of it moves me in a way that isn't the perfection that it is written in the first place.
Now, I've written quite a few songs in the past myself, and when you said you don't know the lyrics of some of your favourite songs, that some of these songs are that old, I don't even know the lyrics to some of my own songs anymore.
That's not abnormal.
It's gone to that point. It really has gone to that point. Well, we're going to listen to some of your tracks that are coming up. So we're going to have another little break for music, and when we come back, we're going to have our first live lounge track from Ben and Dan from Fortitude. Right back after this.
Made locally in Bath. This is Radio Bath.
So here with our first track, it's Dan and Ben from Fortitude. What's the name of this track and what is it all about?
This is called Dead Men Tell No Tales. It was the first collaborative song that the band wrote a few years ago. And I think it would be fair to say the lyricist isn't here at the moment, but I think it is fair to say it is about rebellion.
Amazing.
With a cause.
Here is track one then from Fortitude.
The more answers are solved, the more questions are posed. You are the judge and the jury. Hell, scorn and devil's fury go insane in a crazy world. Off to war, flags unfurled. I've lit a fuse that I can put out. Hear my plea, hear my shout, and the marching band plays with blood-stained hands. As they beat their drums, you will understand. Dead men tell no, dead men tell no, dead men tell no tales. Forgive me, I have sinned. Hear the whispers in the wind. No time for licking wounds. The gallows beckon all too soon. Dirty graves, dusty jails. No one's coming to pay the bail. On the run, born a fighter. Now the noose is getting tighter, and the marching band plays with blood-stained hands. As they beat their drums, you will understand. Dead men tell no, dead men tell no, dead men tell no tales. And the only thing that makes sense is nothing ever makes sense. The only thing that makes sense is nothing ever makes sense. Marching band plays with blood-stained hands. As they beat their drums, you will understand. Dead men tell no,
Give them a big round of applause. There's Ben and Dan from Fortitude. There's their first track sounding absolutely amazing. We'll be right back after this.
I've been everywhere, man, looking for you, babe, searching for you, babe.
Okay, so we're back with our second track now from Fortitude. Dan and Ben are here today for us. But before we actually talk about that, we're going to talk about the little drum instrument that you have here. So talk us through this. What's this? This is not a full set of drums, is it?
No, this is not a full set of drums. This is called a cajon, C-A-J-O-N. And it is essentially a wooden box made with different sides of the box are made from different widths of wood, and it has a snare in the back to sound like a snare drum. A lot of people use them in acoustic setups just because it's not as loud as a drum kit. It's very portable. You sit on it, you can carry it. And they do use them as a substitute for a drum kit, as I am indeed today.
Yeah.
But I don't really think that does the instrument justice itself, because it is an instrument in its own right, and it's involved in a lot of Latin music. And when you see an actual cajon player play it properly, as opposed to someone like me just using it to keep the beat, it is a phenomenal instrument. People probably know what they are without actually realising what it is. You've probably seen buskers, festival bands, acoustic duos, which I use it for. But if you do see Latin music, especially Portuguese and music of Portuguese descent, they are absolutely phenomenal. They can play a whole piece of music on this instrument on their own. Some are made by percussion companies. Factory-made cajons are made by percussion companies, the famous ones like Premier and Pearl. This one was made by a luthier, because in theory, although the different panels were different thicknesses, it is on the same idea as a sound box on an acoustic guitar. So at the back of this is a hole in the back that the sound comes out of, and a luthier is as people know, someone.
I did not know that.
There we go.
Makes a guitar. So this one, was worth quite a few pounds actually. It was. I'm not going to go into how much it cost.
But it sounds amazing. So what's the second track you're going to play for us then?
So this is called "Do What You Want To," and I was talking earlier about the kind of your emotional experiences. This actually stemmed from a school disco years and years ago.
Okay.
And a particular girl that I fancied at the time, and there's a whole backstory that you'd have to come and ask me with Bible alcohol. But so as we were saying before, you kind of reminisce, and Dan came up with the chords again, letting drummers loose on acoustic guitars at the time. It's always dangerous. And it just made me think of that memory. So listen to the lyrics and see what you can read into it, maybe.
Amazing. Here's track 2 then from Dan and Ben from Fortitude.
Should turn your way right in front of your eyes. There will come a day they will never know when not to turn and run. But when she walks into your life, you better know that your time has come. Embrace every moment as if it was your last. day, you remember that kiss. But if you turn left, not right, you won't know what you missed. On the fateful day, your heartbeat gives a miss. Hold her close to you and make sure that you take the path that you might have missed. Do what you want to. Say what you mean. Be who you want to be. Don't hide away. Hold her close to you. But your heart. Show her what she means to you, and you'll never be apart.
Every last second of it. Well done, guys. Sounding absolutely fantastic. Have another little break. Back right after this. It's cover time then. So Dan and Ben are still here from Fortitude, and they're going to do a cover. So what's the cover going to be today?
So this is Dreaming of You by The Coral.
Okay.
I don't know about Dan, but I've been playing this for probably 20 years on and off in various cover bands.
Me too, yeah. And it was a classic at the time. It was at that time in sort of early noughties when we'd all got over grunge and Britpop, but we wanted to keep the party going. So bands like the Coral and the Hives and the White Stripes, we were all
Very happy tunes,
maybe slightly getting a little too old for being in indie clubs because we were 10 years past being students, but we still kept the party
Still
going
learning.
anyway. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's have a listen to it.
It's up in my heart when it skips a beat. Can't feel no pavement right under my feet. I'm in my lonely room when I'm dreaming of you. Oh, what can I do? I still need you, but I don't want you now. When I'm down and my hands are tied, I cannot reach a pen for me to draw the line. From this pain I just can't disguise. It's gonna hurt, but I'll have to say goodbye. Up in my lonely room when I'm dreaming of you. Oh, what can I do? I still need you, but I don't want you now.
Oh yeah.
Up in my lonely room when I'm dreaming of you. Oh, what can I do? I still need you, but I don't want you now.
Sounding absolutely brilliant there. There's a cover version. Well done, guys. Well, we're going to have another little break. Back with a quick fire round after that.
The Nursery Hilperton, proud sponsor of the morning show.
So we're back with Dan and Ben from Fortitude. We're going to play a track from their original album. What was the name of the album again, guys?
Reverie.
Reverie. That was it. Lovely name of an album. So which one are we going to play and why?
One More Star which is probably the closest thing we do to a ballad. I think it's fair to say it was written with a idea of writing and playing a song that wasn't just for electric guitars and a drum kit. The subject matter is quite emotional. Phil, who wrote the song, it was about his late father. And we also had a special guest musician.
Who was that then?
That was Sarah Mitchell-Rogers, who plays the violin on the intro.
Now, your name is Dan Rogers. Is there any connection there whatsoever?
There is a connection, yes. Sarah
Very
is
astute
my
of you,
wife.
Richard.
Yeah, Sarah is my wife, and we have a very musical household. She's been playing every instrument since her teenage years. And she's currently in a band called the Moonlit Poachers. I know I'm here for Fortitude at the moment, but I can't come on and not mention the Poachers. And you interviewed them several weeks ago, so if anybody wants to listen to that podcast,
yeah, if you want to listen back to any of the podcasts, it's done under the banner of Life Off the Stage, so you can look back on the podcast, and they performed live in this very studio. On that occasion, though, the lights were broke, so we were doing it via iPhone torchlight.
Very nice.
Proper praise. We're having it easy today, aren't
Yeah,
we?
There you go. You've got lights and everything. You just don't know you're born. You really don't.
Quite.
Okay, so what's the track name again?
One More Star.
One More Star. Fantastic. This is from Fortitude and One More Star.
You and me, it's history. All I have is my memories. Every day, every night, whatever I do, every word, every sight, I'll be thinking of you. And in the heavens up above, in a universe of love, someday we will reunite again. And where the horizon meets the sky, a billion stars right high, and one more star shines bright tonight. In the end, you've got to give up the fight and drift away into the night. I say goodbye, but this is not goodbye. Hold back the tears, try not to cry. And in the heavens up above, in a universe of love, someday we will reunite again. And where the horizon meets the sky, a billion stars right high, and one more star shines bright
is Radio Bath. This is Radio Bath.
It's time for the quick fire round then. So Dan and Ben here from Fortitude been playing on our live lounge today. How have you found it today, guys?
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Very much, yeah.
Absolutely. Strangely nervous in a very different way to being on studio, on set.
Yeah.
But absolutely, yeah, it's nice to have you smiling across the desk at us, Richard. Thank you.
Yeah, making us feel comfortable.
I always try to do that. It's just, it takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. So right, quick fire rounds. You're each going to get this question. You each answer the question. Okay, I'm going to alternate it as we go through. So, Ben, to start with, I'm going to start with yourself. Everybody knows this question. What is your favourite ice cream?
Ooh, caramel. Just in, so I've got 35 teeth. My last wisdom tooth didn't come up, so
right.
reading that, and they're all sweet teeth. So anything that's kind of sugar on sugar, like dolce de leche sort of toffee that's been melted for 100 years together, freeze it down, pour some sprinkles of sugar on the top, and that's the one.
So sugar on sugar on sugar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, very. It's well, I think it's one of your 5 a day, isn't it?
It's a natural product.
Yeah.
And Dan.
I think I'm just going to be a bit dull and go for chocolate.
There's nothing wrong with chocolate. That's my answer.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
In good company then. I can't help feeling there should be other... I've always thought there should be a cider.
Wow,
and in your accent, you know, which...
yeah.
It has to be
careful. I'll bring this up.
Yeah, I would like a cider ice cream, please.
We are definitely in the West Country, aren't we? It's absolutely amazing. Right then, Dan, are you tidy or messy?
Messy, I've got to be honest. I try to be tidy, but I am messy.
I was going to say, what's Sarah shouting out at the radio right now? Messy, fair enough. What about yourself, Ben?
Probably in the messy camp. I like things to have a place, but often I never get round to creating the place to put the thing in the first place. So the general, it's messy.
So it goes on top of the previous place.
Yeah. And as long as mentally you know it's in that pile, you've got your own index of how things are.
I know this is radio, so people can't see, but I think if people saw our rehearsal rooms, they'd say we are messy.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Leads and instruments everywhere and cans.
Fair enough. Whereas Sarah seemed very, very tidy.
She is.
Yeah, good combo, that one. Ben, love or hate roller coasters?
Oh, if you'd have asked me when I was younger than 20, love.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a midriff expansion sort of problem, but beyond that point, I used to love the waltzers and anything that would do. I appreciate it's a roller coaster sort of question, but yeah, Alton Towers, anything. Yes, love.
Love them.
Still love.
Still
even though
love
they make me
them.
feel sick. Yes.
My biggest tip, and I do this, I love roller coasters myself, take a travel sickness tablet. That's all you need to do.
That's probably a test, isn't it, from like Puritan, whoever make the things in the first place. Go like, take this, go on a roller coaster, do you feel okay?
Just don't take more than 2 because it makes you really drowsy.
Okay.
And then you fall asleep on the roller coasters. This is not from personal experience.
Really cool, doesn't it? Falling asleep on a roller coaster.
Off you go. What about yourself, Dan?
Neutral for myself, but I do love seeing other people suffer on them.
Okay.
That's a very different answer, isn't it?
Wow. We'll let your psychologist read what they do into that.
Move on.
Next one for you. Dan, do you hang your toilet roll over the top or behind the back?
I've been waiting for this one. I honestly don't know.
You don't know?
I think at home we would tie it around the back.
Okay.
Oh, that's the wrong answer. It's got to be around the front.
Well, now I had Simon on last week, and he did quote about the fact that the patent of toilet rolls, it is officially over the front. So that is the official way of doing it. I can't believe there's a patent for it, first of all, but there we go. So one's behind the back and one's over the top. Sounds like a strange moment in life. But there we go. Ben, do you eat your chocolate from the fridge or from the cupboard?
Ooh, good question. Fridge, preferentially, but it never lasts that long to cool down sufficiently.
Fair enough. What about yourself, Dan?
Wherever it comes from.
You're just
I have
happy.
no preference.
He's a drummer.
Yeah, chocolate is chocolate and I'll take it.
You're just eating chocolate because it's there.
Yeah.
Right, Dan, I think I know the answer to this one. Do you make your bed in the morning?
This is the other one I was waiting for.
He works in facilities, of course he does.
Well, I work in facilities, but I live with my very industrious wife and my very conscientious stepdaughter. So, can I say I try to on weekends, but Sarah and Amelie do it in the week.
Okay. I don't know what that answer means, but we'll go with that.
No, there'll be a few people in the audience that have their own versions of what's just been said.
So I think the answer is no.
Yeah, I think
I'm going with no.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
What about yourself then, Ben?
I'm kind of a yes generally in that I'm not going to hospital corner and stuff. My mum was a nurse, but it didn't rub off on me in that regard. No. But I'll pull the duvet up and put the things straight. So
Fair enough. So do either of you have any cushions? It's always a follow-up question.
No.
Any cushions on the bed?
Cushions?
Yes.
Oh, Dan. Yes. You've changed.
Well, that's probably a word, ain't me?
Okay.
Fair enough. Ben, what is your favourite breakfast?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably full English, but the one thing I don't like is mushrooms. Probably on the whole planet, I'll try anything at least once and a couple of times. But and I say mushrooms, and people are screaming at the radio, going, "There's about 1,000 different types," but they just freak me out, and I'm not keen on the taste. So, but yeah, full English breakfast, good start for the day. Certainly when you got recording and stuff for 12 hours. By the end of it, you're still going strong.
Yeah, very good. What about yourself, Dan?
Mushrooms and scrambled eggs on toast.
Takes all sorts.
Heaps of both. Heaps of mushrooms and heaps of scrambled egg on toast.
Yeah, scrambled egg. Did you know scrambled egg's not as healthy for you as a fried egg?
I just realised I said the wrong thing. I didn't mean scrambled eggs.
What did you mean?
I meant poached eggs.
Poached eggs?
Yeah,
okay.
Eggs, sorry.
Even healthier, probably?
Poached eggs are perfectly healthy, because they're cooked in water.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I guess, so you're precluding the butter and other things that you add into the scrambled eggs to make them unhealthy?
Absolutely, yeah. Whereas the fried eggs, the butter actually goes off. You don't take the butter with you unless you scoop it up with the fried egg itself. So, the egg isn't absorbent of the butter.
But yeah, lots of egg and heaps of mushrooms, and I don't mind how long it takes for me to stand there over the pan poaching the eggs. I will do it until it's piled high on my plate.
I think Richard's philosophy show is airing at some point which egg you should have.
Could be a whole show on eggs, couldn't there?
Yep,
so here we go. Right, now this is always the pressure moment, because we are live lounge. Okay, so I'm going to start with yourself, Dan. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Well, did karaoke not that long ago.
Okay.
And it was, straight off the bat, Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen.
Okay, I'll come back to that in a second.
So this is absolutely not rehearsed at all. I'd probably go Dancing in the Dark.
Okay, by Bruce Springsteen as well.
By the Boss, yeah. And I want to say I like him, but he's not the sort of I put on all day, every day sort of as an artist. But you can't help but respect the guy. But from a karaoke point of view,
I was going to say, are we going to get a rendition? So, Ben, yourself first of all, as we will ask to you, do we get a rendition from you? There's no pressure.
Oh dear, I need the words in front of me because, as I said before, I never remember the words of the songs I like. But yes, something about wake up in the morning. I go to work feeling the same way. Blah, 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 blah.
I was waiting for the drums to kick in then at the same time.
Because I guess it's got that nice lift into the kind of pre-chorus and stuff, and it's within your vocal range, so you don't... karaoke for me is a big thing, and any sort of kind of party I'd love. I think Dan's in the same boat as us, so get us off the microphone is hard.
Right. Yeah. Dan, do we get a rendition from you?
I'll do the hook line, and that's the best thing I'm going to do. 'Cause tramps like us, baby, we were born to run.
Wow.
There you see. Tarzan and Jane.
What can I say to that? Right. Ben, what is your favourite TV programme or film?
Ooh, I'm a Trekkie.
A Trekkie, okay.
So, when I was... my dad used to watch the original Star Trek... and Leonard Nimoy, obviously, very good. He's featured in so many things, but has always been Spock in everybody's minds. I love The Next Generation, all this stuff. And actually, probably my favourite film was First Contact, the first time it came out.
Right. Because
as a Trekkie, you'd had all the backstories by watching it. And I guess it's part of the... I was going to say cult, but it's not really a cult. But in terms of that fan base,
the community.
Thank you very much. Yes, help me out with the right word. But you know, it's like chalk and cheese, and the people are Trekkies or not. But if you are, there are millions like you.
Yeah.
And it was just a very well put together film of the time. And a lot of these films, they kind of age and they get superseded and whatever. But yeah.
Can you do the hand signal? I can't remember what it should be. There we go.
Live long and prosper. Yeah.
There you go. So it's the two fingers together, isn't it? And then the V in the middle.
Yes.
So.
And the spots. So the on the line of philosophy, having is not so pleasing a thing as wanting.
Wow. Sounding lovely. What about yourself, Dan?
I'm a big history buff. That is my other passion after music. So for TV, it would be Peaky Blinders and SAS Rogue Heroes. And for films, it would be Star Wars. Sorry, Ben.
Oh, no, I'm a Star Wars fan.
I think Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
All sounds good. All sounds good indeed. Yeah, I have to say I'm a Star Wars versus Star Trek person myself. I'm still trying to get over kind of the newer ones and how much value there are to them all.
Yeah, I guess the stories are well, there's a famous thing is that there's only like 9 or 10 stories that can ever be told, and it does feel like those 9 and 10 stories have been told in each genre quite a lot of times.
Yes, it does indeed. Right, 2 questions to go then. So, Dan, first of all, if you came back in your next life as an animal, which one would you be and why? Now, before you answer, if it's cat, okay, then think of another.
Right, it is not cat.
Okay.
But I'm sure that anybody who hears this and knows me will be, he's going to say cat. But a cat can't play drums.
Okay.
And a woodpecker can do the next best thing. So I come back to the woodpecker.
Sure, I'll take that answer every day. Right. What about yourself, Ben?
So I was going to go cat.
Yeah. I'm now putting that in there because everybody kind of says cat. And like, not a cat again.
Yeah. So, but when Dan started thinking about woodpeckers, my mind went absolutely laterally. I'm thinking crocodile.
Okay, why a crocodile then?
Because they've been around for millions of years. They're the kind of absolutely evolutionary pinnacle of badass.
They are.
And as a rocker, that's got to ring true somewhere along the lines, doesn't it?
Sounds amazing. So we've got a woodpecker and a crocodile.
Yeah, and actually we can live harmoniously, can't we?
I'll be in a tree, in a swamp.
Thank you for your originality in that. And your last question then, Dan and Ben from Fortitude. Ben, to start with, where is your happy place?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably similar to Dan in this, and that I'm an adventurer at heart. And so, how you express that, but being somewhere that people haven't kind of completely taken over. So usually it's the top of a mountain or something, but you find your kind of your peace or your quiet in various ways during the day, but actually to escape. And I love camping when it's winter, nobody else is there, and it's raining and it's cold, and you feel kind of cozy. But if it's that sort of as close to adventure and kind of your roots as a human as possible, that sort of thing.
Being close to nature.
Yes, but in a vaguely scary way. So I went to Canada a while ago, and I got so close to some bears and stuff.
Have you seen the latest Twix advert, by the way?
No.
Oh, okay. So after this, have a look at the latest Twix advert. It's one of the best things I've seen in years.
Okay.
Dan.
Ben is right, we are both into our adventures. I spent some time when I was younger up mountains and in jungles and in deserts, but I think if I had to be absolutely honest about what my happy place would be, all of my family, my paternal family and my wife and my daughter and her family, we are all, and I know this is Radio Bath, I'm going to have to change cities, we are all Bristol Rovers supporters. Oof. So it would be with my family and my wife and her family in our blue and white shirts at the Memorial Stadium watching Rovers win about 10-0.
Oh, sounds
and I
amazing.
won't mention the team they'll be beating.
Who would they be? I'm a Portsmouth fan myself, so we started all right.
I think you're saying still based in the southwest.
Well, I don't want to cause any problems.
Would they be playing in red by any chance?
They probably would be.
They
would.
Yes.
Okay.
This has been Dan Rogers and Ben from Fortitude. Tell us if people want to get hold of your previous album and also what you've got coming up in the future as well.
Okay, so we're on Spotify. That was part of the fun of the launching the album in the first place, and the EP will be going again on Spotify and iTunes and all those good things. There's something like 20 streaming platforms.
There's loads,
and so the EP will be released on the 16th of February next year. We're playing at Birdall's Yard in Bath, as we talked about before, on the 14th of October. Doors open at 7. Come and see us there. We will be playing the 4 tracks from the EP, so it will be the chance to hear it before anybody else does.
And we will be debuting the new lineup of the band as well.
Yes, indeed. So we've got, who's missing in the studio today is Matt Watts, who's the bass player, who was recording on the EP with us as well. So he's an old friend of mine based in Stroud, so he's kind of Bath Plus. And Paul Smith, who has joined us recently as the other guitarist. So this is Fortitude lineup version 3, 4, something like that. But all good guys along the way.
This will be the permanent lineup.
Yeah.
This is the set lineup, and we will be debuting the EP.
Touring UK, Europe, the world.
This is the permanent lineup for now.
Yes.
The EP called
Yes.
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime. Amazing. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it today, chaps.
Certainly have.
Yeah, very much so.
It's been amazing hearing you. As I always say when I do the live lounges, for me it's like having my own personal concert. And it's an amazing thing to do. So thank you so much for your time
Very
today.
kind of you, thank you.
And we'll get you back in next year when we can actually play the tracks from your new EP as well.
We look forward to it.
Absolutely.
This isn't the last we've seen of
Thanks
them.
for
So thank you, Dan. Thank you,
Thank
Ben.
you very much.
See you very soon.
Thank you.
The Nursery Hilperton, proud sponsor of the morning show.